Hi, I'm Toby from AWS and welcome to This Is My Architecture. I'm joined today by Paul from Lemongrass. Hello Paul.
Hey Toby, how are you doing?
Good. Tell me, what does Lemongrass do?
So Lemongrass specialize in moving SAP onto the cloud, and particularly into AWS, and we help customers move their SAP systems and to reap the benefits of running a system on AWS.
Okay, super. And you're going to tell us today about a new feature you've developed for MiCloud called System Copy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent.
So what we've got is, within Lemongrass, we've developed our own portal, our own environment, which we call MiCloud. And this allows the customer to manage their bills from AWS all the way through to infrastructure changes, to system start and stop, and scheduling and so forth. And all of that's baked into the MiCloud. In this particular instance, what we've done is we've built a system copy process, which we've utilized a lot of the AWS tool sets for us to be able to automate that as much as possible. Okay? So in the event that we've got here, the customer would select the systems that they would like copied. And from there, once it's submitted and it's gone through an authorization process, we would then generate a work package. Now, at the moment, all of this is sitting within the Lemongrass account.
Right.
Okay, so we haven't touched the customer's account yet at this point. What we're doing is we've just selected the systems that we know about from the customer's account.
Okay, sure. So winding back a bit, the use case might be for a customer that they want to be able to take a copy of production and maybe put it into development or into test, and that's the classic use case for system copy.
Yeah, that's right. So what you find a lot within the SAP world is you've got multi-tiers of environments. So you've got your dev, your quas, your UAT, and production. And quite often it's quite costly and time-consuming to keep all of those up to date. So really what you need is you need a development environment, a test environment into production. And quite often you just want that extra layer when you're doing big releases to actually do a full production test of your major release. And this is where this tool could really come into its own.
Okay, so let's talk through what we've got here then. So this is your customer-facing portal here, and you said it generates a work package from MiCloud. Is that once the user's kicked off that command for a system copy? Is it?
Correct. Yeah. So once they've submitted that, then it'll go through an authorization process. So someone else in the customer's organization would need to approve that from a budgetary perspective, and yep, the project's good to go. And once that's been approved through all the stages, it then generates a work package, which is then executed against the customer's account.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So that's where IAM comes into play.
Correct. Yeah. So we'll have a predefined role, a predefined user, within the customer's account, which is then utilized to kick off the process. Okay.
So once you've leveraged that IAM user, so that will then hit the customer's source environment, will it? Yeah. So what happens next?
Sure. So what happens here is you've got your source system, which has been selected from the MiCloud environment, and from that point, we will then execute an AMI build. The AMIs are then generated and they are dropped into a temporary environment, which we've, in parallel to the AMI, we've then built this temporary environment out using CloudFormation. So from this CloudFormation, we'll build out a new VPC, which is not part of the customer's prime network. It's an isolated environment. We'll create the subnets. We'll also be dropping in some system manager automation docs, which will be doing a lot of the grunt work while we're sitting in this environment. Once the AMIs have been copied across into the temporary environment, we would then stand them up, and we would do a host rename, and we would also do a good hashing so that we can bring that system successfully back onto the live network again.
So when you do your snapshots here, do you have to quiesce the database in production?
No. So how it works quite well there is that the AMI and the snapshotting technology really looks after that for us. Because it's a point-in-time snap that AWS provides you, you don't have to worry too much about the database consistency. When the database starts up again, if there is anything that needs to be rolled back, the database engine itself would manage that rollback to bring the database into a consistent state.
So now we've got our temporary environment, which is a snapshot from production. You're going to have to do some reconfiguration there. Are you host names, IP addresses?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So what we've done there is we've utilized the new features within System Manager and the automation docs to automate the entire process for us. So we'll have a predefined system name that will be defined as part of the MiCloud variables, and it'll go through and also regenerate the GUID. And then once that is complete, we would take a final AMI, okay, and we would then drop that back into the customer's network again, which is predefined as part of the variables that come in from the MiCloud selection process.
Right, so when the customer kicks off this command, they're going to say, right, this is my source environment, and this is where I want my target, say, development or test instances to go.
Correct.
So they'll specify a VPC or a subnet, will they here?
Yeah, so they'll specify a VPC or subnet, or they could just choose it to be the same as the source, and then it would drop back either preferably into a new subnet, but within the same VPC, which they've already got connectivity to.
Okay, and there, is it ready to use, or I see we've got some other steps here?
Yeah, so what you've got then is once a target has been renamed and re-added back into the network again, you've then got a number of standard post-processing steps that need to be done from an SAP perspective. And that is then done from within the SAP application, and you run through your standard post-copy processing steps. Once that is complete, you can then hand it back to the customer.
So one of the challenges customers tell us about with these sorts of system copies is data cleansing and data obfuscation or scrubbing. Does this system provide for that?
At the moment, no, but it is something we are looking to do as part of the roadmap of the system copy process. What we would do at the moment, though, is if there was a requirement from the customer, we would execute some internal ABAP programs that would then go do that data scrubbing for you.
Right, and that would take place here, would it?
Correct. That'll just be one of the steps within the post-processing.
Super, okay. And how long does this process take end to end?
So traditionally, this is something that could take a day or so on-premise to actually go through with the rebuild and the copy and everything like that. What we've done with this, up until the post-processing, we can get this done in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot faster in terms of delivering for your customers,
Correct,
right?
correct. And what it also means is that the end time for the full system copy process is dramatically reduced.
Thanks very much for sharing. It's been really interesting.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, and thanks everyone for watching. This is my architecture.